friends, this is Anna Hellman with Scrapping, Stamping, and Stuff. Today we are making a card with the Prized Peony bundle. Now, if you remember a while back, we made this card right here. This was shortly after the release of our new annual catalog products. And I admitted to you that this peony situation was a little intimidating to me. I looked at, I saw these flowers in the catalog and online that, hey, we can make these gorgeous flowers, but I looked at this and was kind of like, okay, so how do we make these? So I realized it was really easy to put the dies together, and I'll show you this again today, to make these really pretty flowers, but I wasn't quite sure how to make them look realistic. So in this video, I showed how you can just take your paper and crumple it up, do your die cutting, cut those pieces out, and then they insert together really simply. This was a nice way to make it look realistic. But I did want to learn how to do the sponging. I've seen beautifully sponged peonies, and I wanted to do a tutorial to show you how exactly you sponge them to make them look nice and realistic, because there's a lot of different ways to sponge and it's a little hard to know where to start. So that is what I'm going to show you today, and we are going to make a slimline card once we get our peonies put together. So here is my completed sample. Here are the pieces we need for each peony. Okay, we need the little flower center. I have 3 leaves that I cut out of basic gray. And I'm going to order these so that you can see from large to small which dies you need to cut out. And those are going to be my samples for the sponging. So bring in some scrap paper here for my sponging. I cut these out of Flirty Flamingo cardstock, and I'm sponging with Poppy Parade. So I figured out this is how I liked the look of the sponging in the different areas on the different pieces. So I am just laying those out. I'll leave them here for you to look at. And if you want to sponge along with me, grab your stuff and come back, sometimes sponge along with me and create these. You can see what they look like as well. So on this largest die, I have most of the center sponged pretty dark with the Poppy Parade. And down here at the bottom, if you haven't seen these before, that each piece has a slit in the center. And the purpose of this is they will insert together and create that gorgeous flower. So on some of these, I'm sponging differently on the top than I am on the bottom. So on the bottom of this one, I do want some of that dark, some of that Poppy Parade, but I don't want it to go all the way out to the edges. I want there to be some of that light color at the edge. So there's my first one. This next one, I want to sponge dark at the bottom, and then I want it to be lighter up towards that center cut. Now, above that cut, I want it to be a little bit darker here, but then I want the light up on top. And I don't want to mess up my sponging down here. I'm not exactly sure how to do my sponging without sponging down here too. So what I did, I just grabbed some scrap strips of paper. I'm going to insert that in there. And now I can just sponge this top section. Sponging these is definitely something you can play around with. You can find a lot of samples online, but you can really create some gorgeous samples when you sponge these pieces. Okay, so we'll go with that. And these are all going to be a little bit different, of course. Every one will be one of a kind. This one will start here at the bottom and sponge up, getting lighter up towards that center cut. This one's basically going to be like the last one. And you have to get your sponging up pretty close to the cut line, otherwise it's not going to show once we insert them all together. Now I have a little bit smaller strip of paper I'll put in here. We'll do a little bit of sponging up here. And then the smallest one. This one, there's not a lot of color variation, but I did try to leave a little bit of a difference in there. This one I actually wanted to be darkest on the edge, that outside edge. And then for the rest of this, I had darker down lower, and then just a little bit lighter right there at the cut. And I really like a lot of color variation, so you can sponge as dark as you want. These, the more color you add, the more dramatic it's going to look. Okay, so let me show you how to put these together. We need to put both of these together. I'll bring in my pieces for the other one. The first thing we will do is insert this small piece into the back of this smallest one. And to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive right there on the back. That way, once I stick this in, I'm going to get it where I want it and press down on that so that it will hold it in place. The rest of these are very easy to line up, so you're just going to insert them from smallest to largest. This one I find a little bit harder to insert than the others, so if you kind of pinch the smaller one together and bow it up, it slides in a little bit easier. The rest of these go together easily. And what you'll find is if you flip these over, at the bottom, they all have the same shape of a cut, and you want to push them together until they all line up evenly there. Okay, so now you can look at this and decide, do I like the way this looks, or do I think I need to play around with the sponging a little bit more? And I like that. It's going to be different than this one. They'll all be a little bit different, but we will go with that. So next, there are different ways you can attach all of these together, but I just like to shoot a little bit of our multi-purpose glue down in between each layer. And as long as you get those back couple of layers, the front ones should all stay together since those pieces are hooked together. Now, I'm not exactly sure where I want all my leaves because of the arrangement until I see the arrangement of the card. So I am going to leave the leaves off until we start to put everything together. This is where I said if you bow this one up a little bit, it goes in just a little bit easier. There we go. Okay, so we'll get these glued. And now let's start to look at how we're going to put our card together. So I told you we were making a slimline card. If you haven't tried making a slimline card, I really encourage you to. These fit in a standard business size envelope, but I also have a tutorial out there for making your own envelope if you want to make an envelope as pretty as your card is. So the card base itself is a piece of gray granite cardstock that measures 7 by 8.5. I folded it in half, so now it measures 3.5 by 8.5. The designer paper is from our Peony designer paper pack. It measures 3 inches by 8 inches, and this piece of Poppy Parade cardstock in the background is 3 1/8 inches by 8 1/8 inches. So what I want to do here is just figure out how I want to arrange this, and I've kind of come up with a vision in my head, but sometimes once you go to put these together, it just doesn't quite work out how you think it's going to. So my thought was to have two of the flowers over here and one over here. And I do like that. I want to play around a little bit. In my mind, I thought maybe I could have this flower upside down a little bit, but I think I like it better just like this. And then we'll put this one over here. So I want to put some ribbon in the background. A lot of times I like to put some kind of messy ribbon or just something kind of fun and frilly in the background. So before I put all of this together, I am going to attach my ribbon down and try to make that happen in a way that I like. So all of this area is going to be covered up by flowers. So I am going to just cover that with a little bit of adhesive. And now I'm using some of our shimmer ribbon. I think this is absolutely beautiful. I love our shimmer ribbon. And I do not exactly know what I'm doing here. I am just playing around, so maybe I should have let you believe that I do know what I'm doing. Sometimes with these ribbons, I don't know what I want it to look like, so I'm just going to play around. Okay, so that is like lots of frills. I am going to put a little tag in here with our greeting, so I'll bring that in, see if I like how it looks. And I like that this one's going to hang out down here. I think we'll go with that. So I will trim off the edge, trim off the end here. And if this needs some more frill, some more fluff, some more sparkle and shine, I wasn't sure if I would want to use this or not, but this is some of our metallic mesh ribbon in our holiday catalog, and I thought about maybe even adding in a little bit of this. So, because I don't know what I want it to look like, I just test it out by putting it in there and seeing what it looks like. And I think that's kind of fun. Just something a little bit different, something extra. We will just go crazy with embellishments and frills and bows and loops and sponging and fun stuff today. So I will do the same thing I just did. I'm just going to put down a little strip of that's our Seal Plus. So that's some really strong adhesive. And I'm going to bunch it up in the center and press it down there. Now when I put my peonies on, I'll be able to kind of move that around and get it in a place that I like. So I want this flower on first. And I think I'll try to glue these down, and while they're drying, kind of stick the leaves underneath where I think I like them. Nope, I take that back. We're going to do this with Seal. That way it will be permanent and I don't have to worry about it moving around or holding down. I'm curious to know what adhesives you like best. If you watch my videos, you know that I use all kinds of adhesives. Depends on what I'm doing, what I'm using, and as you just heard, I don't even always know what I'm going to use. I just kind of play around with it. I think we'll go with that. Now, we'll just put this down permanently right away. So I want to make sure my ribbons and everything are where I want them before I press this down. And I think right there should work. Now I'll put some of that Seal Plus back on the back of this one. Because of all these layers, all this thickness, all this ribbon, I definitely want plenty of strong adhesive. And I should not forget that this needs to go in here somewhere. So before I press the flower down, let's put a few dimensionals on the back. Here I have some of our black dimensionals. I've mentioned a few times that I really like these black dimensionals, but I don't think I've mentioned that they do come with, oh, which side did I want? I think I stamped crooked on this side, so the other side was what I wanted. These black dimensionals, they come with large ones, and they also come with the mini ones in the same pack. So that's pretty handy that you get both. But these are, the reason I wanted to use these for this one right here is because they're extra sticky. So we'll press that down. Now I'm okay with this penny. Penny? Peony? You know, that was close. Now I do not know where I want these leaves to go up here. I can't have them sticking out past the edge of the card too much. And you know how when you're arranging things on a card sometimes and it just seems kind of awkward? What do we want? I think we'll go with that. I like that. So let's see if I can get my seal on without moving them too much. This is not liking these little pieces right now. Okay, so now we'll get this one put down in place. I just love these peonies. Isn't that beautiful? With the brights and the gray in the background with our extra ribbons. Now we can't be quite done. A card this pretty has to have some more sparkle. So I have some of our elegant faceted gems here. And I just have to decide which color I want. If I want the white ones or the clear ones, the pink ones. I think we'll go with some clear ones on here. You can see I have ink all over me. I'm a true stamper today because I am covered in ink. Where do we want it? And I feel like we need some more. This is what happens when I don't fully design my cards ahead of time. You get to hang out while I figure out what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, I love this. I had seen one. It was completely different than this card, but it caught my eye because I just loved the bright poppies on more of a neutral background. So that's what I wanted to do for this card. I absolutely love this. Hopefully you enjoyed this. So I really encourage you to try this sponging on that peony. Like I told you, I was afraid of it at first. I went the easy route with crumpling up the paper like that. But here I've shown you exactly how to sponge those. So try it out. You can mix up these colors and make any color combination you can think of. And you are sure to get some really neat results when you start to play around with this. Thanks for joining in today. You can get more ideas and inspiration and shop for your products on my blog at scrappingstampingandstuff.com. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again next time.